What's up, Big Bear Nation? Welcome back to the homestead. Now, about 3 years ago, I had Jason build me 2 of these Siskovich chicken tractors. And they were meant to be for our meat birds that we were going to get in the spring. Well, I may have gone a little crazy when it came to birds, and eventually these guys got used to house some of our layers. And they worked really good for moving them onto fresh ground every day to give them more protein and to keep them protected from aerial predators, because that's something that we've really had a problem with in the past. So I was concerned that we would lose birds to hawks and owls and all that stuff. So I wanted them protected because they were going to have, you know, eggs that we were going to be picking up daily. So we put our layers in here and everything seemed to be okay. But then I stopped getting eggs, and what I realized with the Siskovich tractors is part of the build is you have to have a tarp, and that is for shade and also for rain. And if you don't have that, then they're open to all of the elements. But the downside to that is that it covers a good portion of the tractor and it doesn't allow much sunlight to get in. So unless you have your birds directly facing sunlight, they're not going to get enough in a day to be able to keep up with egg production. So Siskovich tractors, not necessarily a good idea if you're trying to raise chickens for eggs. I even had Jason make me a couple of these brooder boxes that were tractor style so that I could grow out some of my smaller birds like my bantams. And that's what I have these guys in right now. But I've run into a few problems using this style for laying birds, and I wanted to point them out to you so that you don't make the same mistakes I do, or that you're aware of them and you work around them like I have. The very first problem that we had, you notice these brooder style, tractor style boxes that I have here are not very tall. So there's not really a whole lot of opportunity for a roosting spot. Now, I probably could build something off of the back side, but then that kind of takes away from everything else, being able to put things under there for like if it's raining. And so that was the problem, is that we got hit with a month straight of not just drizzle rain, I'm talking like pouring buckets of rain. And so I had to figure out a way really quick to keep all of these guys safe, because these guys are small and puny, so it doesn't take much to get them to, you know, get cold, get wet, and die. And then over in my bigger, longer tractor, I have all of my layers that I'm growing out, and they were still somewhat chicks, and so I couldn't leave them out in the rain because they would end up drowning. So we had to really quick figure out how to tent up some tarps and get it to divert the water away from the tractors so that there wouldn't be any flooding inside these brooder boxes. Now, the bigger problem that I had, as if losing birds wasn't enough, is we are raising these guys to be able to lay eggs. And while I was running them this way down the pasture, everything was fine. 2 or 3 eggs a day, perfect. Well, then we turned the corner and came back around, and I noticed that there weren't any eggs. And there's one thing you've got to notice about this particular tractor that we built. On 3 sides, there's walls, it's closed in, and then there's a roof, and that's to give them windbreak, to give them shelter from the rain, and also shade. So that was the problem, that shade thing. Well, when I had turned everybody around, it wasn't facing this way, where the open side was facing the direction of our sun. It was actually flipped opposite. This side was facing the sun, so they weren't getting any sun all day, every day. So I finally figured that out, turned the tractor around, and lo and behold, they started laying again. So I tell you all that to let you know that if you're running your birds, even your smaller birds, in something like this, make sure that when you're moving them around that they're facing sunlight, and you don't do what I did and turn them around backwards and then all of a sudden you don't have any eggs. So hopefully this helps you make an educated decision. If you have a Suscovich tractor laying around, or some of the Salatin style tractors lying around that you're thinking maybe you can put some layers in, or even your Bantams, I would either A, not do it, or B, make sure that you're positioning your tractors in a way that you know which direction your sun is, so that they get enough sunlight to be able to produce eggs for you. Thank you for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless. Have a nice day.